Bombay held the fairest elections in history. There was one candidate, one voter. And guess what? He won every single time. That's the kind of confidence I need in my life. Let me tell you how this ex-soldier turned himself into a one-man nation. Our main man is named Bombay. And before you ask, no, this is not about the city in India. This is about a Nigerian man who somehow found himself on the Forgotten Front of the Second World War in Burma. Now, when Bombay left his home, he was just your regular guy. Probably thinking the war would be some adventure, maybe a way to earn a little respect. Oh boy, he had no idea what he was signing up for. Because when he came back, he wasn't the same man anymore.
And you cannot compare.
The war transformed him, and not in a romantic, brave soldier returns home kind of way. No, this guy came back with his body covered in scars, looking like a leopard with spots. And mentally, well, let's just say there was a silence around him so thick you could cut it with a machete. Everyone in his village was eager to hear his stories. You know how small-town folks are. They want the juicy details. Bombay, how was the war? Did you fight tigers? Did you blow things up? Tell us everything. But Bombay wasn't having it. Nope, not a word. He refused to tell the adults what he'd been through. He wasn't about to recount how tiger leeches, yes, tiger leeches latched onto his skin and sucked his blood as he crossed rivers. He wasn't about to share how his comrades got caught in traps that snapped off their heads or tore open their bellies. And the craziest part? He didn't even brag about his acts of bravery, and this guy had plenty to brag about. He earned 3 medals during the war, including the Victoria Cross. That's the big one. The one they give for, conspicuous acts of bravery. Basically, you have to be the bravest of the brave to get it. But instead of impressing the adults, Bombay told his stories to the kids. And oh, he made them fun. He'd spin these wild tales, mixing truth and fantasy, turning himself into this almost mythical figure. For the kids, he was a legend.
Are ya ready, kids?
But while Bombay was out there fighting in Burma, he had some big realizations about life. First, he realized that independence isn't just a dream. It's something worth fighting for. If he could risk his life for someone else's freedom, why couldn't his own country be free? Second, and this part is both hilarious and sad, he realized that the so-called all-powerful colonial officers weren't gods. They could die. They could lose their minds. In fact, one of them went completely insane right in front of him, yelling insults at every soldier around him. And one of Bombay's medals? Yeah, he earned it for killing one of those almighty officers. So when Bombay came home, he wasn't about to just bow his head and go back to paying taxes to the colonial government. No, sir. Instead, Bombay did something outrageous. He took over an abandoned jailhouse, moved in, and declared it his own independent republic. He literally named it Bombay's Republic.
It's free real estate.
He didn't pay taxes, he didn't answer to anyone, he ran elections where, wait for it, he was the only candidate and the only voter. And guess what? He won every single election, every single one. Shocking, I know. Armed with his medals, his gun, and this fearless attitude, he managed to hold his ground. Nobody dared challenge him. It was as if his bravery in war gave him this larger-than-life aura like, don't mess with Bombay. But behind all of this, you can still see the toll the war took on him. His scars weren't just on his body. His mind and emotions had been transformed too. The war broke something inside him, and maybe, just maybe, this whole republic thing was his way of coping with it all. And that, my friends, is the story of this unforgettable man who came home from war and decided to become a one-man country. The story I just told you is called Bombay's Republic by Rotimi Babatunde. And wow, what a story. It's got everything: war, humor, insanity, independence, and one man who refuses to play by anyone's rules but his own. So, what did I think of Bombay's Republic? Honestly, I loved it. First of all, Bombay as a character is just incredible. He's larger than life, but also painfully human. I couldn't help laughing at some of the situations, like the whole idea of him running elections where he's the only voter. That's comedy gold. But at the same time, you can't ignore the sadness lurking underneath. This man is dealing with trauma in the strangest way possible. The way Babatunde writes, you can almost feel Bombay's silence when he refuses to talk to the adults. And then, when he opens up to the kids with his tall tales, you see glimpses of the man he used to be. Someone who wants to be remembered as brave and heroic, not broken by war. Now, I'll be honest, the whole idea of realizing colonial officers aren't invincible, it's not brand new. Other African writers have touched on that, like Daniel Mangara and Mima. And the idea of creating your own republic? Well, Fela Anikulapo Kuti did that in real life with his Kalakuta Republic, until the government came and burned it down. But despite all that, this story feels fresh because Bombay himself is such a unique character. He's a war hero, a storyteller, and a man who says, "Forget waiting for independence, I'll just make my own."
Huh?
That's bold, and I love it. I also have to mention how Babatunde writes humor and tragedy together. You'll laugh at one line, then read another and think, wow, that's dark. There's this moment where a soldier goes mad, and while it's funny on the surface, you realize how much psychological damage war does. And Bombay's own descent into partial insanity, living alone in a jailhouse, creating this imaginary republic, it's both hilarious and heartbreaking. You don't know whether to cheer for him or cry for him. Plus, Babatunde's imagery? Oh man, it's vivid. Sometimes it's grisly and even a little gross, but that's war for you. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. If there's blood, if there's mud, if there's something crawling on your skin, you're going to feel it while reading. Now let me give some love to the author, Rotimi Babatunde. He's a Nigerian writer whose fiction and poetry have been published in Africa, Europe, and America. You might find his work in journals like D. Osens des Elementes and Fiction on the Web, or in anthologies like Little Drops and A Volcano of Voices. Babatunde has some serious recognition to his name too. He won the Meridian Tragic Love Story Competition, which was organized by the BBC World Service, and he's also taken home the Cyprian Ekwenzi Prize for short stories. So when I say this man knows how to craft a great story, I mean it. So, would I recommend Bombay's Republic? Absolutely. It's an interesting, entertaining, and thought-provoking read. It made me laugh, it made me shake my head in awe, and it made me think about what war does to people. All while telling the story of a man who decided he'd rather be a republic of one than follow anyone else's rules. If you're looking for a short story that's funny, a little crazy, and unforgettable, this is it. That's all for today's review. Have you read Bombay's Republic? What do you think of Bombay's one-man country? Would you ever declare your own republic? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring that bell for more book reviews. Until next time, keep reading, keep laughing, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.